Also, we have an opening on the Park and Recreation Commission, so if anyone is interested in serving on that commission, you can stop by City Hall, fill out an application, and turn it into Shannon Howard, our city clerk. And are there any amendments to the agenda?
There are none tonight, sir.
Are there any declarations of conflict?
No.
With that, would you please present the consent calendar?
Item A is minutes from the August 18th, 2015 council meeting. Item B is minutes from the August 21st, 2015 workshop. Item C is minutes from the August 21st, 2015 emergency council meeting. Item D is payables August 11th through August 24th, 2015. Item E is improvement waiver request, 201 West 14th Avenue. Item F is improvement waiver request, 305 East 9th Avenue. Item G is mutual assistance compact with the City of Coeur d'Alene for requesting law enforcement assistance. Item H is Timothy Tracts Subdivision Plat application. Item I is Viking Estates Subdivision findings of facts and conclusions. Item J is surplus of a 1996 GMC Sonoma from the Water Reclamation Division. And item K is the Mullan/Idaho Signal Safety Project KN13868 rejection of bids results.
Any questions on the consent calendar? Is that an entertaining motion?
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion? Seeing none, Shannon, please take the roll.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Hissong.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item up is public hearings, and we have none tonight. Following that is unfinished business, the fee waiver for the Post Falls Senior Center, and Shelley, you're going to discuss that.
Yes, Allison MacArthur had contacted me about waiving the fees, and I included the attachment with what the building permit fees are at this time. We don't have the electrical or plumbing. They haven't been applied for. Also, those building permit fee amounts will likely change because had just, this afternoon, I just got an email about 3 minutes ago, rejected the bids they received because they were so far over their budget. So they will be going back out to rebid this project later with some changes to what it is they expect to have for a project. But they would like to know whether or not council will entertain at that time waiving the fees. We have not waived the fees in the past. The reason for the request is because we are sponsoring the grant and we also own the property in which the building sits. So those are the two reasons that have been provided to us as to why the senior center is making this request.
Shelley, another project city owns, are fees paid?
Yes.
So we pay those fees.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say that the city owns the building?
The city
No, the
owns the
property.
land. The building
land,
is
and they
owned
own
by the senior center.
Okay.
Alan?
I had a question on the actual permit, dollars and cents. Which fees are the ones that they want waived?
They want the site plan review and the building permit fee. We don't waive the impact fees that were on there.
Well, it says customer evaluation.
That is waived.
That is already waived.
No. That would, if you guys agree
Well,
to
that's
waiving
one
the
of
fee,
them.
that would be right.
That one and the comp plan review,
Yes.
those are the two.
Yes.
Did they already pay the one?
Yes, they've already paid for the one fee.
Okay.
I don't have that up. What was the total dollars of those two?
3824.
Okay, thank you. Further comments, input, questions?
Well, if it's something that we haven't waived before, if we're going to be consistent, we probably shouldn't waive it again. It's just my thought.
Well, and we have to wait until they come back with the new plans anyway, so.
That's going to give us the dollar amount. What they're trying to do is put together a budget, so they need to know whether or not council, so in other words, if you tell me you don't want to see this come back again, I won't bring it back again. If you want to see it come back again to make your decision, then I'll bring it back with the new plans later.
I think it's more than just, it's a bigger issue than just the dollar amount, though. I think
Right.
it's setting a precedent that we haven't done in the past.
Shelley, do we have any precedents where we have done this for a nonprofit or some other relationship with the city on?
Ross Point Water, I know that we waived some fees for their water tank about 2 years ago.
Okay.
The same type of fees?
Yes, it's just, the only fees we look at are just the site plan review and the building permit fees themselves. So we don't waive any of the sewer cap fees, the water cap fees, or the impact fees.
But Ross Point Water isn't a nonprofit, right?
say not-for-profit, I think, which
Oh.
means we make money, but we spend it all,
Oh,
or something.
I believe they are a not-for-profit, is my understanding. I'd have to go back and verify that, but
oh.
I can't remember that one.
I mean, emotionally, yeah, it's,
Right.
you know, gee, the senior center does a great job and everything. But if we're opening a Pandora box, then no. So can you think of any other time we've done this and it hasn't come back to bite?
no.
No.
Long story short.
Is there any other city-owned property where a nonprofit owns the building in
Chamber
the
of
city?
Commerce.
The Chamber of Commerce and also.
They don't own the
Met-
building. We're leasing them the building, isn't that correct?
No, they
Chamber
own the
owns
building.
They own the building, we lease them the land.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Yeah.
That's
And
Did
also,
we waive anything during the construction of that? That's your memory?
I actually asked Pam that question a couple days ago, and she said no.
Okay.
Also, the other one that we have would be where St. Vincent Apartments, Meadowwood Glen or Glen Meadowwood.
16th?
That's right next to the senior center. Those
over there.
apartments also sit on city property and they own the buildings on them. But there were no fees waived with those either.
Those were actually built by a private developer through a HUD project, so
Okay.
maybe different than this. I mean, if we can justify it, I'm in favor of it, but I don't want to go somewhere we haven't gone before that's going to come back and create a problem for future councils or whatever.
Let's just go down the line, Linda.
Well, I guess my thought is there's not that many pieces of city property where a building is owned or ran by a nonprofit that it would come back to haunt us in the future. I mean, if that's it, the chamber and those senior apartments, I don't see that it's going to be a big issue in the future.
Do we separate out between nonprofits that occupy city property and other nonprofits? That would be my concern, I guess.
Yeah, and if we're going to do that, then I'm not going to be in favor.
Betty Ann?
I would be in favor of, I think I would be in favor of waiving those fees for the senior center, the nonprofit, because they're the only one. Didn't we say they're the only one out there? No, there's one more. Yeah, I'd be in favor of waiving those fees.
Joe?
As much as I think the senior center does excellent work and is very important to this community, to set a precedent where we'll waive fees for any nonprofit, to even have that argument opened up, I think could just be dangerous for the future. So please donate your money to the senior center. I think we shouldn't force the taxpayers to subsidize it either.
Thanks. Al?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I'm torn on this one. I think Joe made a good point when we talked about the softball deal. It's like forcing the citizens of Post Falls to donate to the senior center, whether they support them or not. I know it's a worthy cause, but that's my opinion. That's not necessarily the opinion of the other 20,000 people that live in Post Falls, so.
Well, the only thing I'd say there is you need to increase that by about 10,000, so it's 30,000 people. But besides,
10,000 kids.
okay. Sorry, I had to give you that time.
All right.
Carrie?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I agree with I think everyone except Betty Ann on this one. Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes.
Doesn't the city provide additional services there? Don't we plow the parking lot and do other services for the senior center? I believe we do. We have in the past.
I would have to
You said
check.
no,
We do
didn't.
plow the parking lot, I'm sure of that.
Bill, we do?
You said no.
Oh, did we?
Mr.
Okay.
Melvin's nodding his head.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I'm comfortable that the city provides some services to the senior center in a variety of ways. This might not be the best way for us to contribute.
Okay. Do we need a motion on that?
I think
or-
I have my answer.
Okay.
Maybe we'll have an angel investor watching this, and they'll come forward and pay for the fees.
What kind of
Very
dollar
nice.
amount? What is the dollar amount?
It'll be a little over 3,000.
Yeah.
So, I imagine, because the evaluation will be less on the new project.
Right.
Good. Thank you all very much for your input. Appreciate it. Next item up, citizen issues. This section on the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the council regarding city-related issues that are not on the agenda. Mr. Flowers, come on up.
My down.
Come on down. Sorry, come on down.
That price is right.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, something like that. Bob Flowers. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. First, I'd like to start this by saying thank you to the council, in fact, all the city employees for all your cooperation and getting me all the facts that they could on the Avista City of Post Falls easement agreement. It was quick, fast. I think it was less than 24 hours they had everything to me. After reviewing City Ordinance number 1015, dated January 23rd, 2003, and I read this thing at least a half a dozen times. And in my opinion, I came to a conclusion on this. I also got the opinion of somebody that I trusted quite well. He's 40 years a lawyer. If you can trust a lawyer, he's one you can trust. Anyway, got his opinion on it to make sure I wasn't just seeing what I thought I was seeing in here. I'd like to read a couple of parts of this to the council. This is in the right-of-way or right of excavation. That the guarantee shall restore all streets, alleys, roads, and other right-of-ways to the standard as agreed upon for conditions of safety and use after excavation. There are several very good points, but my final conclusion on this, as far as I'm concerned, is that Avista is in violation of this agreement with the city of Post Falls, that they have just plain thumbed their nose at us. And I don't want to drop this on you guys this way, but I honestly believe, and I'm asking the city council to examine this ordinance and find Avista in violation of it and cancel the thing. Cancel whatever it takes to turn over a city ordinance, and because I'm not honestly sure what it takes, but I know that from the figures from your street department and from my own figures, this is going to cost the city of Post Falls between $160,000 and $200,000 to clean up the mess that Avista has made at this point. By canceling their agreement or their easement agreement at this point, one, it may force them to actually repair our streets so the citizens of Post Falls don't have to pay for these repairs. And two, it may stop them from this coming spring, because it'll be the third year of their 3-year plan, from starting to chop holes all over the streets again. Because there's nothing that's going to stop them if we don't do something from come this spring to just start right on over again, because they've delayed it long enough. We can't get any chip sealing done this late in the year. And I just believe that it may not be the letter of the agreement, but it is definitely the intention of this agreement to look out for the people of Post Falls. And I think they're in complete violation of it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
And we're continuing negotiations with Avista. Russ is working with Sue Baldwin from Avista. We have not received a response back from them on whether or not they will pay to re-chip seal these roads, but we are continuing to work with them.
To go to Bob's comment on they're not going to be able to chip seal it this year, I believe at the last time we discussed it here, Russ, you said that there were aerial photos taken and pictures taken of the work that had been done, so we know where we are prior to next spring if we need to take action to correct. So I think we're on top of that part of it, Bob, but they're continuing to work with them, and we will keep you posted.
And also, they are done. So the 3-year project is complete. They will not be coming back in to cut up any more roads, according to what we were told as of the meeting that we had with you 4 weeks ago. So I'm not saying that that can't change and that they won't come back to us, but they put together a program to replace all of these gas lines, and the city of Post Falls had a map with all the phasing that Bob has referred to, and those phases are all complete at this time.
Okay. But we'll keep you posted on it, Bob. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Mr. Rubin?
Good evening, Barry Rubin. At the last council meeting, a couple of councilors made reference to an opportunity they had to visit a couple of city facilities. I believe one was Parks and Rec's facility, Mr. Fair's facility, and there may have been another one. And the thought occurred to me that perhaps it might not be a bad idea, or it might be a worthwhile idea, for the city to have an open house, if it already doesn't, at some of these facilities every 6 months, once a quarter, once a year, where citizens who are interested can meet at Parks and Rec's main facility or streets and whatever, police department perhaps, meet and greet or whatever the current buzzword is. But I think that would perhaps be a worthwhile idea to get people involved in things of that nature, if it already isn't being done, which I may not be aware of. And one other thing, at the last council meeting, I had requested from Chief Hogue that he give me some information on a police operation which had taken place in the vicinity of my home, and I'd like to report that Captain Knight was kind enough to get back with me 2 days later and give me the skinny on that operation as much as he could within reason. So thanks to the PD for prompt response on that one. Thank you.
And Barry, just so you know, the police department just had an open house.
Yeah, that was
So
kids.
that was one, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one.
Yeah, but it's better than,
They may not let you out.
it's good for
They may
adults
not
as well.
let me in, but.
But I think that's a good point that people can see. I know Avista actually had an open house where they took people over to the island, over the dam. And they do that several times a year, and they don't publicize it very well, but it was extremely informative. So
But perhaps for the Park and Rec main facility or the Streets Department, for people to look at the equipment or whatever other facilities, it might be a way to get people involved and have some other people attend, make comments, whatever. Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate your comments. Next item up is new business, and we have none. Ordinances and resolution, we have one ordinance, and that's the fiscal year 2016 budget.
Move to place the ordinance on the fiscal year 2016 budget on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second, further discussion? Shannon, please take the roll.
Wilhelm,
Aye.
Hissong,
Aye.
Henderson,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Thorson,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Cafferty.
An ordinance entitled the Annual Appropriation Ordinance for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2015, appropriating the sum of $45,662,573 to defray the expenses and liabilities of the City of Post Falls for said fiscal year and establishing kinds and levels for established positions, authorizing a levy of a sufficient tax upon the taxable property, and specifying the objects and purposes for which said appropriations are made.
Move to approve the ordinance fiscal year 2016 budget and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate numbers and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion seconds, further discussion? Please take the roll.
Hissong,
Aye.
Henderson,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Thorson,
Aye.
Wilhelm,
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item up is administrative and staff reports, Standard & Poor's bond rating.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. It was at the first part of August, Standards & Poor's wanted to have a phone interview with myself and also the Public Services Director, Russ, it was their time to evaluate the city's bond rating. And they had evaluated our financial statements online, and they just wanted to know a little bit more about the project that we're working on with the with DEQ, the DEQ loan financing, and they also wanted to talk about our sewer plant upgrade we were doing. So after we talked about that and we provided some more information, they came back with, which I thought was pretty exciting. They still rated the city as AA rating for our outstanding bonds, and also they had upgraded our outlook from stable to positive, which what both of those things mean is anytime the city wants to go out and acquire additional debt, we would receive a lower interest rate because of those, because of their rating. And one thing they wanted to point out was they felt that we had a very strong debt service coverage, a stable area economy, and also had ample cash on hand at the end of fiscal year 14. So those are the highlights that they pointed out in their letters, and I just wanted to make sure that council was aware of that. And I have posted on our website, on our where we have a municipal website where I post our financial statements and also any pertinent information. Of course, we always make sure that the bond ratings are on there for everybody to see.
Thank you.
All
That's
right, good news.
That is good.
very good news, and it's directly attributable to staff, you folks, the job that staff does, so thank you
Yeah.
very much. And hopefully, we don't have to incur more debt. But the question I have is, do we have any debt now that the rating was lesser where it may make sense to look at a refinance?
On the wastewater, I know Jason has been working to refinance some of that outstanding debt.
Yeah, we have Piper Jaffray has been looking at those to see if the rates are favorable at a time to do this. When I talked with Eric Herringer from Piper Jaffray, the rates were on the increase, on the rise, and so there was a point in time where if we would have done it a little sooner, we'd have had a substantial savings. But right now, I haven't heard from him in a while. But the time we looked at it, we had looked at over 100,000. In my mind, we should have continued with that. Refunding is what they call when we refinance bonds.
And you'll stay in contact with them? I know they talked
Absolutely.
about our interest rate increase in September. Now they're thinking it may be December, so I don't know if that would have a positive impact on the rates or not.
It probably would, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor's comments. Chief, I have a question for you, and you can answer from right there because I'll repeat it, and I should know. This is dealing with gas, LPG or NG?
Natural gas.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that makes sense.
I was going to read it, but I thought I should at least know what I was reading. So, the City Council held a special meeting on August 21st to pass an emergency ordinance banning all burning, with the exception of LPG or NG, propane or natural gas, in the city limits until further notice. The ban is in effect until the emergency no longer exists. Congratulations to Chief Scott Hogue. He will become president of the Idaho Chiefs of Police Association on October 1st. He is currently the association's vice president. Chief Hogue has been involved in the association for the past 15 years. 50 city police departments are members of the ICOPA. So congratulations to Scott. The city recently received 2 awards from the Association of Public Treasurers of the U.S. and Canada. The city received a Certification of Excellence Award for the city's investment policy, and congratulations to Finance Director Jason Faulkner for being awarded a Certified Public Funds Investment Manager. So thank you and congratulations. Again, a job well done. Last Thursday night, Frontiers ABC dinner?
Yes.
Last Thursday night, Frontier Communications hosted a dinner at the Aerospace Center at North Idaho College to celebrate, if you will, their America's Best Cities program. Shelley attended, myself and my wife were in attendance as well. The program, Frontier Communication, if you're not aware, is giving away, and truly is a giveaway, $10 million to further economic development and to spawn new ideas and new products, services, et cetera. City of Post Falls teamed with the cities of Rathdrum and the city of Hayden in an autonomously piloted vehicle. And I said that good instead of the drone word that they're working on. And 165 applications were received, and we made the top 50. So our group received a $50,000 grant from Frontier Communication. The next step is to narrow it from 50 to 15, and that will, resubmissions will take place in November, and shortly thereafter, they will announce those, and that award is, I believe, $100,000 to the top 15.
Yes.
And from that point, if you make it into the top 15, then you compete for the top 3 prizes, which are $1 million, $2 million, and $3 million.
Wow.
So it's huge dollar amounts. Frontier Communications is doing a great job. And what was really exciting is listening to some of the people who spoke. Charles Buck from the University of Idaho, Nick Smoot from Innovation Collective. We were out at the Aerospace Center in Hayden, and they actually had one of their APVs to demonstrate. And the gentleman walks out with this airplane, and he shakes it to activate it and then turns it loose. And this thing's flying all over, and the wings are adjusting, and it's absolutely amazing. And of course, the opportunity to utilize something like this for law enforcement, for utilities to look at the power lines, for the forestry, for agriculture. I mean, I think it's really limitless. And this area is, according to some of those who spoke, primed to be the leader in that industry. So it's very exciting. And hopefully, come November, the group receives another $100,000 to continue working on the project. So a very interesting project they're working on. And then I want to express a citizen's thank you. Elise Davidson called to thank me for service received from Rob Paulus. And if you'll please pass that on. She called me again tonight, and the issue, I've asked Russ to get involved, but it's not a city issue, I don't believe. But Rob was good enough to return her call, walk out, take a look, give her ideas. And so, oftentimes we hear about the good things the city staff does, and this is another one. So please pass my thank you on, and Ms. Davidson's thank you on to Rob for that as well. So I think that's it on the mayor comments. Council comments.
I just want to thank staff for the seamless budget time this year. From back in the late 80s on through being involved in them, this was without a doubt, in my opinion, the best, ready to go, fewest issues, fewest problems, whatever. It just flew through, and I realized it was the second half of a 2-year program. I think that's certainly something we need to look to do in the future, because it seemed to really go well. So thank you, Jason, and everybody, all the staff, for doing a great job.
And we will continue with the 2-year process.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We do not need an executive session tonight.
We do not.
Next motion would be?
Adjourn.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.